up, YouTube? This is your host with the most, King Gio, in the house. I'm going to do this video. Some may like it, some may not. I don't know how you guys are going to interpret it. Before I get started, make sure, I would like you guys, see if you could hit that subscribe button. And we'll hit the subscribe button and then hit the little bell. And that will notify you when I, King Gio, uploaded a video. I just saw something that was very disturbing. That Tucker Carlson, Fox News guy, he's an idiot. He says that he supports the vigilante, the young kid who killed the two people. And I don't. This is very disturbing because this young kid, he's 17 years old, who's not even legal of age to have a gun, is walked around with an AR-15, shot people like him, like Tucker Carlson and the Hedgewood twins and stuff like that are saying that, this is self-defense. Well, no, it's not self-defense when you go out there in the street with a gun in your hand. Or in this day, a AR-15 rifle. Yeah, and you're armed. That's the defense right there. You're not self-defending nobody, because his mentality was, he went out there with a purpose, right? 17-year-old with an AR-15. I don't know why people call him a vigilante, because he's not a vigilante. He's a little thug. He's a wannabe. And goes out there and shoots. And then the funny thing about it is that if you see this clip right here that I'm showing you right here, look, you see this right here? Right there, this kid he's had his hands up. There's a whole SWAT team, everybody are passing. In the photo, it just shows you the photo with his hands up. But if you see the video, this young man, he puts his hands up, and maybe 4 or 5, I think 2 SWAT cars passed him by, and cop cars passed him by, and he has his AR-15 right here, and they didn't do anything, and people are yelling, he shot somebody, he shot somebody. Could you have imagined if that person was black or Hispanic? Either they would have gotten shot, or there would have been a commotion, and that person wouldn't have been able to move. So that tells you the disparity, that tells you the racism that still exists. In the chaos of everything, you have this young man with an AR-15 in his hand, across his chest, and because he's white, let him go. And that's the only way you can see it. There's no other way not to see it. There's no other way not to see it. Okay? So, to call him a vigilante, he's not a vigilante. To call him that he was defending himself. No, he's not defending himself, because he's out there with a gun. When you're out there with a gun, you're not defending yourself. If someone comes shoots at you because you have a gun, that's not defending yourself. Because you're out there in a war, you're defending yourself because you're in a war. You gotta defend yourself. But this is not a war. This kid chose to go out there with an AR-15 for no apparent reason, for no reason at all. Because he didn't have to be in the street. This beef is not with him. Okay, but because he wanted to be part of or wanted to be part of a white movement, or whatever you want to call it, he decides to go and walk across the streets of Kenosha with a AR-15 in his hand. And then you see him in the ground when they attack him, shooting at people. Okay? That's just plain murder. That's first-degree murder in my book. There's no vigilantism there at all. Okay? And then people need to stop. People need to stop this bullshit about, that Mr. Blake has a past history, that Mr. Blake had a warrant, that Mr. Blake had a sexual assault charge. I had this one girl on Facebook. She defriended, she took me over a friend list because she actually put down that Blake was arrested for raping a girl, for raping a teenage girl, and that's not true. So then some of our commentators was like, he's a pedophile, blah, blah. But I looked at his arrest record. There's nothing there that says he was a pedophile. There's nothing there that says that he was that he had raped a young woman. I mean, he raped or he molested a young girl or boy. It doesn't say that. His arrest stems from the felony, a chief felony for what they call it, category 3A in Wisconsin. It's called a sexual assault. It's when a person has sexual contact with another person without their consent. And his ex-girlfriend said that he had touched her without her consent. You know, so this person goes from here and escalates this from here, and then people without researching, without doing the due diligence of researching, come to the conclusion, because this girl said or this person said that he got arrested because no. Do your research, and his past has nothing to do with what he did, what happened right there and then. Right then and then. To me, he could have done a lot of things wrong. Let's say he could have been a murderer, a rapist, or whatever. But at that particular moment, when he got shot, okay, that's the action that counts. We're not talking about his past. We're talking about his action. We're talking about here's a cop, here's an officer that shot him 7 times. Okay, he could have done a lot of things. Officer could have done a lot of things because he had him by the shirt. He could have just yanked and pulled him back. His partner could have easily just, I don't know why they let him go that far into his van, into his truck. I would have stopped him a long time ago. Even if I have to tackle him, but not hurt him, but tackle him. And there were a lot of things that could have been done that were not done. Okay, I also don't want to hear. Oh, but he was reaching for a gun. But remember, he went from this side of the truck to the other side of the truck. Why'd you let him go that far? If you tased him and he didn't fall down, you should have just grabbed him by the shirt. The other cop should just. There were things that could have been done, and it gets me angry when people don't know what they're talking about. Okay, at that moment in time, it's just like George Floyd. They were saying his lawyers, not his lawyers, the defense lawyers, were the other day they showed a picture of where he had a white substance in his mouth. They're saying it's fentanyl. We don't know if it's fentanyl or not, but they're assuming that it's fentanyl. So they're going to base themselves on that. The defense team is going to base it, we had fentanyl in the system, and that's what killed them. So a lot of right wings, a lot of white people, and I'm being too honest with you, a lot of white people are going to say, well, he had fentanyl in the system, he had drugs in the system, he had this in the system, so it's going to be, so that, that's going to cause him death. No. If they would have left that man alone, if they would have arrested that man, and they would have choked, if they would have put the knee in his neck, he would have been alive. Even with fentanyl. Because we all know what famous people have died on fentanyl. Michael Jackson, Marla Prince. Were they choco victims? No. Were they being physically abused? No. But they die of fentanyl, right? So, for anyone to say, well, fentanyl was the cause of it, no. The cause that altered, let's just say his heart can't take it because of the fentanyl, because he also had the coronavirus, but they're gonna base themselves on the fentanyl and the drugs. If that was the cause, and if that was the cause, as the defense team says, then what contributed to that cause? The knee on the neck. Everything has a reaction. If I have asthma and I'm running, and I know I'm not supposed to be running, but I have asthma and my asthma just flares up and I go in the hospital, what caused my asthma to flare up? By running. Okay, so by him having fentanyl doesn't say, okay, well, it was not a homicide, it was not a killing because he had fentanyl. The fentanyl killed him. Yeah, the fentanyl probably did kill him. But after 10 minutes, we watched that man be alive for 10 minutes. 8 minutes, 10 minutes, or something like that, with a knee in his neck. So if you're gonna put the fentanyl, and I was practicing, I say, wait, maybe the fentanyl may have killed him, but what caused the fentanyl to react the way it did? It was the causes of the knee. You know, blockage of airway and all that kind of stuff. So someone to justify, so for someone, you know, I was gonna give credit to. I don't like Tucker Carlson, but he is a smart man. But for him to say that he agrees with the vigilante, that he is just plain stupid. That's all right winged. You can tell he's a pure Republican. And he feeds off and he just wants the white race. And I'm being honest, I'm not a racist. I believe in equality for all. I believe we all have a fair share in this game called our life. Some more than others, of course. But to actually say those kind of things is just disturbing. To have this white kid walk around with an AR-15 in the middle of the street, and the cops, he just walked by the cops with his hands up, and the cops didn't do anything to him. Just makes me wonder what our society has taken a turn for the worse. You know, and the one thing that I do want to say to people, if you're going to protest without violence. I know that it hurts to see one of our fellow brothers and sisters fall down at the hands of these idiotic cops, but let's not take the focus of the big picture here. Is that this young man got 7 bullets in his back. That young lady got killed by the cop. Floyd got killed by the cop, and many others, not just black but also whites, got killed by the cops. And we have to take that into consideration. Then we have to focus on that. We have to focus on having the government reform the way they recruit, the way they handle internal policing. That all that has to change. And by people rioting violently, that it just entices these type of group of people, these white supremacists, to come out and defend themselves and say, you know what, we're not going to take this anymore. We let you guys get away with it for George Floyd. We're not going to let you get away from him now. You know, it's kind of stupid. It's just like there was a young man yesterday who got shot in the arm. He had a gun. He got shot in the arm. The owner of a store shot him in the arm because he was going to loot or whatever he was going to do. He was coming towards the store. The man's protecting the store. You got to stop doing that. You got to stop doing that. You got to stop. You know, we got to stop. We have to stop. We have to stop giving them a reason to say, this is why black people are like this. This is why Hispanics are like this. We have to stop giving them that reason. Yes, it hurts. And yes, we've been through this over every year. But you know how we get these guys, you know how we change their minds? Come November, we vote them the fuck out. You know, you vote Trump out. You vote Mitch McConnell out. You vote all these assholes in the Senate and in the president. You vote them out. And that's how you let your voice be heard. Yes, maybe sometimes violence is the only way to make your voice heard. But there are innocent people who do not need to be heard. There are innocent businessmen and women who are out there trying to make a buck or trying to make a living for themselves and shouldn't pay the price for idiots. If you have a problem with that cop, take it with that cop. If you have a problem with that precinct, take it with the precinct or police department. Do it with them. Let your voice be heard. You know, we went to Puerto Rico is a good example how protests were somewhat violent, but not as violent as the one here in the States. But just with the voices itself, the governor of Puerto Rico had to resign because they knew that if they didn't resign, then shit was going to go uphill. And that's the same way we got to do. If you have to stop the whole entire nation, if you have to go on every highway and stop everything, I mean stop everything, cars from passing by, if you have to do that, then do so, because you're doing that non-violently. You know, but make your voice heard instead of letting violence take over. I know it hurts. It hurts me, and that wasn't even me. And that hurts me to see, for whatever reason it was, because I'm not going to justify the shooting. I will never justify that. So I don't care if he had 10,000 felonies. I don't care I don't care about his past. That's between him and the cops. I mean, that's between him and the justice system. My main concern is that why are these police officers still shooting at people? Why are these police officers? I don't want to hear about but there's like they did in North Carolina where this black guy killed a white kid. Why they didn't give that importance? Well, I don't want to hear none of that because that's a different story. That's a different tragedy in itself. But this young boy, 5-year-old boy, or I think it was 5-year-old here in North Carolina, had to be killed by this man. So that's a whole tragedy itself. We have killings every day, and that's a fact here in the United States and around the world. But we have to, what we're dealing with right now, with officers shooting other people, and especially people of color. And yes, there are white people who have been killed and shot, have been shot and killed by officers, and that's not in the news. Yes, it's true, but that's not our fault. If it's not in the news, then you gotta make sure that it comes out of the news, or you gotta make sure your voice be heard and say, you know what, my brother or sister or what it may be got shot by this officer. Blah. Make it be known. The only reason that this happens is because you see more people dying in the hands. You see more black people dying in the hands of white cops. So I don't want to hear anything from anyone that says otherwise. Oh, he had a record. I don't give a fuck about the record. Okay, what I care about is that another black person got shot in the hands of a white cop. For whatever reason. Now, if the guy had a gun pointed at the cop, that's a different story. You got to defend yourself. That's justifiable. Whatever the case may be. But to shoot 7 times in the back, think about this, people. I don't care if he was going. Let's just say he was reaching for a gun. Think about this, people. Not got agitated. Think about it. The minute he reached out for a gun, the minute that guy felt that bullet in his back, trust me, he wouldn't have gotten for that gun. That pain would have been excruciating. Okay? But he shot him 7 times. That's like saying a person robs your house. That person goes to your house, robs it, and then as that person is leaving, you shoot him. Okay, you shoot him once. You shot him in the back. As he's leaving, okay, fine. But he's still in the house. But once he's outside the house and you just keep on shooting him, now your life is no longer in danger. You just keep on shooting because you were frustrated, you were pissed off. Okay, that's no longer in danger. So now the Self-Defense Act goes out the window. Same thing here. He could have shot him one time if that was the case. He was reaching out for the bullet. I mean, for the gun. And plus, and this is not something that he was shooting from afar. That he had to shoot because he had him in the back. He had him right there. So he could have just he had the vision, the distance to know where each bullet could have gone because he was right there, about 2 or 3 feet from him because he had him by the shirt. Could have shot him on the shoulder, boom, take this. Or he could have shot him in the leg. He could have done something, but no, he shot him 7 times, and that's what we gotta look at. We gotta look at it. Why do we still have these cops who are gun ho? These are gun ho cops, and these cops like this have to get eliminated. Have to be out of the workforce. This is not having to do. People. If you guys think, whoever's watching this and you think of that the cops are going to be defunded, that's not going to happen. It will never happen, and it should not happen. I don't want it to happen. Legally, I don't. It could happen legally, but to defund the cops is stupid. What are you going to do? You're going to defund the cops, and you're going to become a cop, or your community going to become a cop? No. So that's absurd. You got to put more money into the police officers. Got to put more into training. Got to put more into psychological evaluations. You have to do a lot of things. Okay, but you have to wean out those who are racist, and you can find that out easily. And you got to wean out those who are gun-ho cops. This is not a job where 20, 30 years ago, these cops really cared. People really cared to work for their community. You became an officer because your father was an officer, your grandfather, and you wanted to keep tradition alive. You wanted to keep the community safe. But now you got these 18, 19, 20, 21-year-olds. They go to the police force because they have a gun and have a badge, and they think they're above the law. You cannot have that. You cannot have that at all. at all. You know, so that's what this goes to. Vigilante. He's not. This kid is not a vigilante. This kid was a straight up murderer. That's what he is. So take away the vigilante thing away. Carson Tucker, you're an idiot, and those who follow him are idiots too.